So you probably clicked on this video because you're not making any money in real estate, but you want to. So I'm going to help you break down that problem and help you fix it. By the way, my name is Karun. I've been in the game for over a decade, and I'm proud to say I've built a portfolio that's worth over $5 million. I've also been featured on CNBC, and I just love what I do. So the first thing that's really important is that you have to define your why. Why do you even want to make money in the first place? This is a really interesting question, and it does take some soul searching. If you don't understand your why or what you're trying to achieve, honestly, in life, you'll just never be happy. You're going to keep chasing that next step, and you're never going to be fulfilled. So truly, this is one of the most important questions that you have to ask yourself, and you need to understand what you want to do, what you want to accomplish, and then you're able to reverse engineer. And most people that I talk to, even myself, what do you want to accomplish? Why did you get into real estate? Is because you want to live and build a life that you love. You want to build the best life, and you want to be above average. You want financial security, right? You want to be able to buy things without even thinking about it. You want to be able to go on vacation with your family and friends anytime you want. You want to leave something for your future kids, for your future grandkids. You want to build generational wealth. You want to leave something on this earth for the future. So you really need to understand what your why is, because then that will shift and determine the strategy that you take when investing in real estate. So it's very easy to dream and want these desired outcomes, but unfortunately, most people never get there. And there's really three main reasons why that happens. Number one, the biggest and the one that probably I see most is fear, the fear of unknown. Nobody feels getting into something this big or spending this much money on an asset or a real estate is scary. And just think about when you're doing something that you're not an expert in, or you're learning something new, or you're going up in front of a group of people and trying to present something, and it's the first time you're ever doing that. Well, it's very scary. You're going to be filled with fear, and that's natural. You're doing something that you're not used to. You're taking a risk. And that is probably the number one reason why people don't take action in the first place. They don't know how to overcome that fear. And the way that I see it is that people, when you do feel that emotion, when you do feel fear, that means you're moving ahead. You're moving and you're trying to break down a barrier. You're trying to learn something new. And that is how I treat fear and how I was able to take my first step and go down this real estate investing journey. The other piece is finances. This is absolutely critical when you are trying to do something and get ahead. You need money to make money. That is, without a doubt, a factual, very honest piece of advice, and it's 100% true. You need money to make money. And the last piece is no strategy, right? You can have all the money in the world, you can overcome your fear, but you're just doing the wrong things. You're not spending the time on the right things. You're not making an ROI. You're not thinking about the right things. You're spending the time on the wrong things. Okay, so how do you get there? So what we just talked about was really understanding and defining your why, right? What do you really want to accomplish in life? What is your desired outcome? And why you're not getting there, right? Like not having enough money, fear, no strategy. So what I want to do now is break down the last 10 years of my real estate experience into the most simplest steps that could put you on the path of starting your journey yourself. So the first thing, like I said before, you need money to make money, and that's true in real estate. So you need to gather a down deposit. And in real estate, the best way to do it is to have a 20% down payment. You need to bring 20% cash up front. Then that's based on the purchase price. And if you listen to all the videos out there and think about all the gurus and all these videos that say, oh, you don't need any money and you don't need, you can make money, you can invest in real estate with 0% down, that is complete garbage. That is not true. The only way that a bank will ever take you seriously is if you have money up front and you're bringing something to the table. And like I said, you need 20% to start. That's the best percentage to start investing in real estate. If getting that down deposit is tricky, Well, some of the things that I did when I first started was having a very strict budget. I tracked every single expense. I looked at the last 3 months and I tracked and categorized every single thing that was coming in and going out, every dollar. And I categorized, were these essential expenses or were these just like nice to have or wants? And in the beginning stages, I tried to be as strict as possible, and I tried to cut out all of the unnecessary spend. And every dollar that I saved, I would put into a high interest account, and I actually put money into the stock market, and that helped me save even faster. So once you gather that down deposit, that 20% cash up front, you're in a good spot, but you need something else. You also need a good credit score. The banks are going to look at, how loan worthy are you? And the credit score is really important because it tells the bank, how safe is this person? Are they going to pay my money back? Are they going to just run with the money? Are they going to go bankrupt? The credit score gives them that rating, and you want to do everything you can to make sure that your credit score is high as possible. And a good score in general is around 700 plus. And again, some easy things that you can do if credit score is an issue is making sure that you're paying all your bills on time, all your Visa, phone bills, car bills, all that stuff. Make sure you are paying every single bill on time. Never miss a payment. Also, if you have debt like credit cards, try to make the debt up to 30% of the credit card itself. So for example, if you have a $10,000 credit card, try to keep the balance $3,000 or less at any given time. That shows to the banks and the credit bureaus that you're not, even though you have all these loans, you're not immature about it, and you're not just maxing out your credit cards just because you have the loan with you. So try those things, and your credit score will be in good shape. So now that you have those two things ready, your money and your credit score, we can move on to actually picking your strategy. And this is so important when it comes to your, first house, because you want to make sure your first house is super successful, and you want to make sure that what you're doing and the strategy that you pick is really like in line with what you want and what you're good at. Like, you don't want to pick something that, is a big surprise to you, and you just hate real estate because you picked the wrong thing because you just didn't know what you're getting yourself into. That's a problem, and you want to avoid that situation. So let's talk about some of the strategies. In real estate, really the way that I break this down is it all depends, again, on your risk tolerance. So let's talk about the strategies that are pretty typical, and let's break this down. So the way that I think about real estate is that you can lay these strategies out based on your risk tolerance. So if you lay everything out by risk and reward, here are some examples of how you would map it out and how you would pick the strategy that works for you. So for example, right, something that's very low risk and low reward would be your traditional single family rental. This is what most people do. When you think about real estate, this is what most people think about. You buy a house and you rent to a single family. In this case, it's, again, very conservative. It's very safe. But as you can see, because it's conservative, the reward might not be as high, or take you a little longer to really, become a millionaire or build that generational wealth. What I wanted to do, because I'm more young and I have a lot of time in the game, like I started early, I have a lot of time to invest. I want to be a little bit more risky, and I want higher reward. I want more cash in my pocket, and I want more chances to make money in real estate, and I don't mind putting the work in. So I'm looking at strategies that are more like student rentals. To me, that is one of the best, high reward and lower risk strategies that can really just put you on a path of financial freedom. And we could talk about student rentals and these strategies in more detail in other videos, but I just want to show this to you because this is going to determine the work that you have to put in, and you have to be ready for that work. So let's just say you pick your good, you're good with this. You do some research. You know what real estate investing strategy you want to pursue. Now let's go find the right location. Right? You can't You can't know the location or where you're going to invest without knowing the strategy. And this is super important. This is very important. And again, just a quick example. Let's just pretend that you want to go into Airbnbs, right? Now, just imagine if that's what you want to do. You're looking at you're going to want to find a place that's very high touristy, something that's going to create something that has a lot of visitors, something that has a lot of people coming in, short-term stays. And if you pick a place that doesn't have that doesn't attract tourists, well, your strategy is going to fail and you're going to go bankrupt. That's not a situation that we want to be in. And one more example would be what I go into, student rentals. I pick student rentals because the location strategy is very easy to understand. I just look at houses that are very close to universities and colleges. And if I didn't do that, if I picked a place that was too far away, well, then my strategy would probably fail because no students want to live that far away from their college. So again, understanding your strategy will feed into finding the right location. So this, again, is very, very important. Now, let's pretend that you know the strategy, let's say student rentals, for example, and now you're actually ready to find the location and you want to go find those houses. How do you actually do that? Well, in my case, I look at all of the resources online, like the MLS, Realtor.com, Zillow, Zoocasa. These are all really good websites that have all the listings available to you. And in my case, I literally would find the university and college in the city, go right to that spot, and I would look at houses that are for sale in that area. That's all I'm looking for. And whatever houses come up, I make a list. I understand which ones are in my price range, which ones, qualify for potentially a good investment. And that's just what I do. That's how easy it really is. But again, it's because I know my strategy and I know what I'm looking for. Okay, great. So we know the location. You have a good idea of where you want to invest. Now let's talk about picking the actual property, right? So this is probably the most important step, and people get this wrong all the time. All the time. They do not know how to objectively analyze a house. People put their emotion in. People just think that, hey, this area is really good, and the numbers must be high. The numbers that they get from the agent or the are actually real and trustworthy, and they just take, they don't really do due diligence. And that, again, is the number one failure and number one reason why people who get into the game fail. So what does this actually mean? I want to break this down, make this really easy for you. What is cash flow analysis? And that is understanding money in minus the money out equals cash flow. That is what real estate is all about. Understanding the money in and understanding the money out. And the point is that you want an investment that has a positive cash flow. And just to give you some insight what that looks like, the money in is simply your rent, right? That's your rent coming in. How much money can this house produce? So if you know that, now you can take all your expenses, and just for example, most of the expenses are your mortgage, your utility bills, insurance, property tax, a vacancy rate, your maintenance. You really want to dig deep and understand what it's going to take to maintain and keep this property running. Understand those expenses, list them out, do your due diligence. Do not trust the numbers that just come in the listing, right? Actually go look at comparables. The number one thing that I do is I always look at 3 houses. I find 3 houses and that are on the market, and I look at what their rents, the rents that are coming in there. I look at actual rental listings, like in that area, like how much are other people, like other landlords, how much are they renting their rooms out for? How much are they renting their houses for? I get that list and I take the average. So once I find 3 solid cases that are very similar to the property that I want to invest in, then I take the average. And that's the number that I use. That's the rent that I know that I'll probably be able to pull in this area. And that's the number I use for the money in. And then the money out, again, a lot of it is public information. Like your mortgage expense will be based on the banks and the down payment that you have. So that's very easily like you can calculate that really easily. Your property tax, that's public information. You can look that up. The only thing you really need to really understand is the utilities, the insurance, and the maintenance. And just be conservative, right? Don't go crazy, but just pick something up more on the conservative side, and that'll leave you with no surprises. You rather over budget than under, and you rather take the worst case scenario than not, right? And that'll keep you safe. Okay, so that's what this step is. Take your time. This is one of the most important steps. If you get this right, you're in a great spot, and you can finally work with your agent and make that offer. Once you do the math, everything looks good. You build that team. You have a trusted agent. You want to get the offer in as fast as possible, and you want to negotiate. So start a little low and work your way up. And again, have a number in mind. Keep the emotion out of it. Understand what the maximum you would be willing to pay for this house or this property beforehand. And if somehow it reaches that number, just don't go over. Just don't do it. Just understand the exact maximum price going in and keep it to that. And you'll be in good shape when you're in the negotiation, and you won't let your emotions take over. And again, that's really important when you're ready to close and buy that house. So there you have it. This is the breakdown of the last 10 years into simple step-by-step guide. And if you want to learn more, feel free to reach out, join my Discord, and leave a comment, and I'll make sure I'll answer every single question that you have. Thank you.